How can making things simpler make them better? Welcome to another episode of All About Being Single. I'm your host, Violetta. Happy Tuesday, or I guess whenever you're listening. So lately what's been on my mind, and this is another single shorty, is how I constantly want to make things better. And a part of me is pretty perfectionistic, so then I constantly want to make things better to the point of like having analysis paralysis. And because the part of me that's perfectionistic is just trying to get the job done the best way that I know how. And it prevents me from doing anything at all sometimes. And so lately I realized that sometimes if we make things simpler, that's actually what makes them better as a result. So basically, my new motto is keep it simple, single. So my biggest struggle lately as a single person is doing meal prep essentially. So like making food for myself. And I'm so busy, and obviously I know you as a single person, you're the only person doing everything that you're doing in your life. And I just feel like I'm so busy. I have the podcast now. And so I just realized a few weeks ago what I started doing is a great example of this whole keep it simple single, because instead of spending so many hours on a Sunday, like half my day, if not more so, doing grocery shopping and then doing all the meal prepping and putting everything away and just spending hours cooking this thing in the oven, this thing in the air fryer, just all the nonsense that comes with meal prepping. I started just going to the grocery store after my walking club, my single and social walking club. So, by the way, if you're single and you live out in the suburbs, the Chicagoland suburbs, I would love to have you join us every Sunday, 9:15 a.m., downtown Naperville. DM me if you have any questions. But anyhow, so after the walking club on Sundays, I go straight to the grocery store. Today, actually, because I'm filming this right after the walking club, I actually had ordered stuff. So I did a pickup order. And so that was ready for me when I got there. So I didn't even have to step foot in the store. But basically, what I get is a lot of frozen veggies, which actually more nutritional value when they're frozen, right when they're at the ripest, basically. So something you might not have known. And I get a rotisserie chicken that I just shred up once I get home and like put into little containers. I usually get like a milk for my coffees that I make. I usually get an almond milk for my overnight oats, which I have as a snack in the afternoon. Sometimes I'll have like a yogurt with chia seeds and some fruit or granola. So it depends on like what I'm feeling like. This time around, I'm trying to use up some of the overnight oats that I have. And what I do is literally just so simple. Again, so simple. And just get home, get the chicken, again, distribute everything. I mean, it literally takes me under an hour. Today, honestly, it took me under an hour, even including picking up the food. And even if I had gone in to shop, I still think it wouldn't have taken me that much longer because I have these very few things that I get. But yeah, it's like I'm obviously running all my errands during the weekend because I'm too tired after work to go do much. I mean, I do some errand running after work sometimes or before work. So that's not to say I don't do that. But usually in my evenings, like I just want to hang out with my cat. I want to just go on my phone, watch a podcast, do whatever I want to do. And again, as a single, I know it's like we have to do everything. And especially with this economy, everything costs so much. So I think with the regular meal prepping, like you almost kind of have to, in a sense, meal prep as a single person, because if you don't, you're wasting a lot of food and you're wasting a lot of money. And in this economy, that's almost impossible because, as you know, a lot of things come in item in like bulk basically, which works out for families that are bigger than just one person. But for us, it's like, again, if you're the only person paying for your bills, like you don't have somebody else splitting the mortgage or the rent with you, it's a lot of money, and just groceries just keep adding up. I used to make like rice all the time again when I would do meal prepping, but now I just get like the 1 minute rice with like quinoa, fucking pop it in the microwave for a minute and it's done. And I bring that to work or I make it here when I'm working from home. Fucking done. And sometimes, depending on what store I go to, like Mariano's by my house, for example, has like already pre-cooked salmon that's super good. And they also have like some mashed potatoes. So sometimes I just pick that up and then grab again a frozen veggie to like complement it. Or quite often they have like this really good salsa that I think goes well with that meal that I just eat as kind of a side. But yeah, like I said, it takes me about an hour, and like literally all of my lunches and dinners are made. This is also my way of making it simple. My breakfast is literally just 2 eggs and half an avocado. So I make that just in the morning so I don't prep that. In a few months I might decide I want to do something else for breakfast, but for now that is perfectly fine. But overall, like again, the whole point is it is so difficult for us singles to find the time to do it all. We are taking care of a house by ourselves a lot of times, or wherever it is that we live. Obviously, we have to do our grocery shopping. We have to do our laundry. We have to go to work. We want to have time for like hobbies and whatnot because we don't have that built support system back at home where we live, especially if you live by yourself. And this just works so well because instead of spending so much of the only 2 days that I have strictly to myself and to what I want to do and spending literally half of a Sunday just doing that, this literally just frees up so much of my time. It frees up so much of my energy that I would have spent doing this. Instead of having to cook, touch the raw chicken, cook it, I literally just buy the rotisserie chicken, which is like between $7 and $8, sometimes $6, depending on where you get it. And it tastes so freaking good. It's so good. It's so much cheaper than the amount of time I would spend, the bills that I would be spending by cooking it in the oven. It's literally cheaper to just pick up the rotisserie chicken. So yeah, let me tell you, it's like my levels of stress have been lowered just by doing this simpler meal prep, so to say. I have more energy to do other things because I'm not spending, again, a half a fucking Sunday doing the meal prepping. So the time that I get back and the price tag on these items isn't even that bad. They're all pre-made, very cheap, delicious and nutritious. So that's what I do for like most of the meals during the week. And then what I also do is once during that week, I go out, take myself out to some kind of a restaurant where I can take the leftovers home. For example, the last couple of weekends, it's been Olive Garden. So I take myself out, which is another additional benefit. I take myself out of the house. I go to Olive Garden, sit at the bar, order my food, which is also super cheap, bring it back home, and I literally have leftovers for the next 3 to 4 days. And so I'm not only saving money, but I made the whole process as simple and efficient and just so much better by simplifying it versus trying to be like this perfect person who does the meal prepping every single Sunday and spends all of that time doing that. I literally feel so much lighter. I'm still getting nutritious food. And because I don't enjoy cooking that much, I have all that energy to spend on things I do actually enjoy doing. Okay, so the note to self for this week is, what's something that you struggle with keeping up with as a single that you think you could make into a more simpler process? And so our glow up then is based on whatever you're struggling with. Take that task, that activity, that to-do list, whatever it is that you're struggling and keeping up with, and actually take an action at least once this week towards simplifying that. Even if it's just writing down how you're going to simplify it. It doesn't have to actually be you actually going out and simplifying it, but that would obviously be better. But if you just figure, okay, I can probably, for example, another thing I'm trying to simplify is how I work on my to-do list for the day. What I tended to do so much of is I would, in the very mornings, once I get my coffee, I would go on my phone because I use like the to-do list from, I think it's like a Microsoft app, and I would write down that whole to-do list that I have. And usually I just kind of write stuff in there throughout the week. If I'm like, okay, I can't do this today, I'm going to plop that in for like maybe Tuesday. I keep adding stuff to it. And then in the mornings, I would sit down and I would look at that list and I would organize it and just jot things down that I can do that day. But I found that because I was spending so much time and energy just doing that in the morning, I would be less productive throughout the day. So something that I started literally just last week is the night before. So once my day's ending at like 5:30ish, 6 o'clock, I go through that whole list and then I write it down for the following day. And I just clean it up. I figure out what my main tasks are. So this way I'm better equipped with handling the following day and I can just pick up in the very morning versus spending so much energy on cleaning up the list first thing in the morning. So I'm sure there's something that you can find, and I hope you find it, and I hope you can start working on that. I would really appreciate if you could please share this episode with a friend right now. So take about 20 seconds, just share it with anybody that you know who is a single who might benefit from this. And throughout the week, as you're working on your glow up activity, voice note us and let us know how it's going so that we can get some ideas on how we can simplify our single lives even more. That's it for today. Again, keep it simple, single. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, if you have any suggestions for how to improve this podcast, please let me know. And always remember, even if we're late, we're right on time. I'll talk to you next Tuesday.